Today, we're diving into one of the most vital, yet probably least understood, networks in your entire body. It's the silent hero working 24/7 in the background, and it's called the lymphatic system.
So let's kick things off with a kind of weird question. You know your circulatory system, right? All those thousands of miles of blood vessels? Well, they're constantly leaking. All day, every day. So why aren't you just a walking puddle of fluid?
Because get this, the amount of fluid that escapes is huge. We're talking about 3 liters of plasma seeping out of your capillaries every single day. That's more than a big bottle of soda. Now, this isn't a design flaw, it's actually how your cells get fed. But it definitely creates a massive plumbing problem that needs to be solved. And if we zoom all the way into the microscopic level, you can really see what's happening. Blood flows in, and as it squeezes through these teeny-tiny capillaries, fluid just seeps out into the surrounding tissue. This stuff is called interstitial fluid, and it's great, it bathes your cells in nutrients, but once it's dropped off the groceries, it can't just hang around. It has to be cleaned up.
And that is exactly where our hero of the story steps in. This massive, body-wide cleanup and security detail is all run by your lymphatic system.
So let's explore this hidden network. It's probably best to think of it as a second circulatory system, like this huge, unseen river flowing right alongside your blood vessels. And just look at the sheer scale of it. This web of vessels reaches literally everywhere in your body. Its number one job is drainage, collecting all that escaped fluid and guiding it on a one-way trip right back where it belongs, in your bloodstream. But here's a really key difference. Your blood circulation is a closed loop, right? The heart pumps blood out and it all comes back to the start. The lymphatic system, though, is an open system. It just kind of starts out in your tissues and only flows in one direction, always moving up towards your chest. So, how does this journey actually happen? How does that fluid from, say, your big toe make its way all the way back up into your blood?
The way this works is it's beautiful engineering. The tiniest lymphatic vessels have these amazing little one-way doors. When the fluid pressure builds up outside, these tiny flaps swing open and let the fluid rush in. But they can't swing back out, which means once the fluid is in, it's trapped. No leaks. And the very second that fluid crosses the threshold of those little doors, it gets a new name: lymph. And this stuff isn't just water. It's a cocktail of whatever your cells are trying to get rid of. Waste products, bits of old cells, and, most importantly, any nasty bacteria or viruses that might have snuck in.
Okay, but if there's no heart pumping it, what pushes the lymph along this whole network? Well, you do. Every single time you move, when you walk, breathe, or even just stretch, your muscles gently squeeze these vessels, pushing the fluid forward. It's actually a fantastic reminder of why just being active is so important for your body's internal cleanup crew.
But believe it or not, drainage is only half the story. The lymphatic system is also a huge part of your immune defense, with all these sophisticated little security checkpoints built right into the system.
And these checkpoints are your lymph nodes. Before any of that fluid gets dumped back into your blood, it has to be filtered through these little bean-shaped structures. And you have them all over, in your neck, your armpits, your groin, nearly 800 of them in total. So how does the filtering work? Well, think of a lymph node as a super high-tech security screening. The dirty lymph flows in from all different directions. It's then forced to trickle really slowly through this dense maze that's packed with your immune system's guards, your B and T cells. They inspect everything that floats by. Once it's all clean, the lymph flows out through a single exit to continue its journey. And here is where it all clicks into place for a lot of us. You know that feeling of swollen glands in your neck when you're sick? Yeah, that's not your glands. It's your lymph nodes. They're swelling up because they're packed with immune cells that are multiplying like crazy to fight off whatever bug they found. They're literally active battle stations. So that begs the question, where do all these immune cell soldiers actually come from? Well, turns out the lymphatic system also includes the very places that create and train them for battle. We can basically split the lymphoid organs into 2 groups. You've got your primary organs, like your bone marrow and thymus. These are the boot camps, where your immune cells are born and trained. Then you have the secondary organs, like your lymph nodes and spleen. These are the battlefields, where the trained cells are stationed, waiting to be activated. So your bone marrow is the factory. It cranks out B cells and the raw recruits for T cells. Those rookie T cells then have to go to the thymus, this little organ behind your breastbone, for a very rigorous education. This is where they learn the most critical lesson of all.
how to tell the difference between your own healthy cells and a foreign invader.
Once they've graduated from boot camp, these elite, mature cells take up their posts in the secondary organs. This is where all the action happens. Inside the lymph nodes and the spleen, they lie in wait to finally meet the one bad guy they were trained to destroy, ready to unleash a really powerful, targeted attack. But this incredible, super efficient system has a dark side. Its amazing effectiveness can sometimes be turned against us, making it a real double-edged sword.
Because the very same highway that our immune cells use to race around the body, well, it can also be used by our enemies to do the same thing. And this is a huge deal when it comes to cancer. Cancer cells can actually break off from a tumor, sneak into the lymphatic vessels, and use them as a superhighway to spread to totally different parts of the body. That dangerous spread has a name you've probably heard: metastasis.
And what happens if the plumbing itself gets clogged? Well, if the lymph can't drain properly, it starts to back up in the tissues, causing a kind of permanent swelling called lymphedema. This can happen after surgery or if lymph nodes get damaged. In really rare and extreme cases, it can lead to a condition called elephantiasis.
So it's pretty amazing, right? It's a guardian, but also a gateway. It's our body's best cleaner, but it can also be a carrier of disease. And that kind of leaves us with one big question to think about. How does this silent network's constant balancing act between good and bad shape almost everything about our health?